Each year, Microsoft Research hosts hundreds of influential speakers from around the world, including leading scientists, renowned experts in technology, book authors, and leading academics, and makes videos of these lectures freely available.
I have the benefit of being the last speaker on the panel because it's so nice that the first three speakers have laid out the background for my presentation very nicely. And then so I can just get right onto the talking points that I want to present today. And I think Bill's presentation provided the background, the large background and what's going on, and the data on the data management side, and then Carol, and being in iSchool as UIUC, so we both share a lot of similarities in the activities of developing data curation, data management educational programs. And Bob, I want to say, we cover a lot of the topics that you mentioned in your presentation. So, so with that kind of that background, I'm going to switch right to my topic. So I'm not going to go too broad, but really talk about the experience at Syracuse over the last 4 or 5 years that we developed data management related curriculum and the educational programs. So, and we did not come to data science, overnight. So I think I can give you a little bit background of our educational program development history, very short history. So about 5 years ago, our school received 2 NSF grants. One is the cyber infrastructure for cyber infrastructure facilitators, which is to educate information professionals, not necessarily librarians. We try to be as broad as we can to information professionals, or in a more specific term that used by our by this program's PI, Jeff Stanton, it's cyber infrastructure professionals. Sounds very it's just a term that we felt at the time can be best used to describe the nature of this type of professionals. So that program lasted about 2 years. They had, I forgot how many, about 6 or 8 students. They sent it off to those science labs, and then they are back, and then I think I didn't track that one, but the graduates from that program got jobs in both corporate world as well as government research centers. And the second one is the scientific data literacy project. So over that project, we developed a course called Scientific Data Management, and that course was first offered in 2008. And that course covered a lot of topics mentioned by you, and I think sort of address Carol, another Carol, not Carol Palmer, another Carol's question about, we call it authentic learning. So what we mean by authentic learning was that students were involved in real-world data management, science data management projects. They actually, they were sent out to the labs, to the faculty, to actually start from interviewing them to understand their requirements, to understand the data management practices, and then so they report back to the class, and so we have a discussion about, how would you develop the data management plan? How would you implement, the plan? So that's the kind of real world learning, real case, learning for the students. So, and then about 3 years ago, we had another grant from IMLS, which was to educate e-science librarians. So we used this term, e-science librarians, and we actually are happy to see that this e-science librarian has become a job title for some research libraries. And also there's an open access journal initiated or published by the school of the medical school at UMass. So this e-science librarianship has really spread out among the research libraries. And so with this little background, you can see that we didn't set out to set up an educational program for data science initially, because of the background and because of what was used at the time. But just at the time that I think about 2 years ago, we got our first certificate for e-science, certificate for advanced studies in e-science, approved by the New York State Education Board. The title for the program is called CAS in e-science. But that program has only, that label for the program had a very short life, about a year. Even before the first cohort graduated, the title has been changed to data science. That's where we are today. So that's what we are going to, I'm going to describe mainly in my presentation. So before we have been struggling with what is data science, what is e-science, what is data curation. So we want to, and I think our school's faculty has this consensus about we don't want to limit ourselves to LIS field, even though LIS field is a very large and it's a meta science and in many sense. And I like Carol's review of those historical literature. Those are the classical literature and well established. But I think at this time, because of our school's educational program structure, we have LIS program, all at master level, LIS, Library Information Science, and Information Management, which is a master level program educating IT managers, information systems managers, and those we call it anyone who's going into an IT department to work as a professional. So that program is different from Library Information Science program, although students graduate from the IM program can work in LIS, in the libraries, museums, and archives, and vice versa for the LIS graduate students to work in, corporate, in government programs. So we want to be inclusive, not just for the LIS students, but also for IM students, because these two programs have so much, so much complementary advantages. So we want to be as inclusive as possible. That's where the data science, the CAS for data science came from. And what is data science? I think this, the author of this book is our Senior Associate Dean for Research, Jeff Stanton. And I'm in full agreement with his definition. But as you can see, this definition has a very, has a focus on data collection, data curation, visualization, data management, And of course, analysis and visualization is also part of it. So for the if we look at the data science in the data life cycle, in the context of data life cycle, as well as the research life cycle, we see two distinct, maybe two distinct areas in terms of the nature of the tasks and nature of the jobs, but it doesn't mean they are not related, right? So on the one side, the data scientists, data science deals with data ingestion, and as I think Bill has a very clear, full description about those processes. And also, on the other hand, this planning, design, and consulting, implementation, and evaluation of data management projects and the services is another area that has not been, very paid enough attention by the general definition of data science from the corporate world. So this is what it's missing. So we want to combine both. We don't want to be, purely analytics oriented, but we also don't want to be just for data management and data curation. We want to cover the both world. That's the. So I collected some job announcements in the science data management field, and by the way, I couldn't find data scientist, the job title, in the science data management field, but excuse me. But when I search Google for just data science without the modifier of science data, you get very long list of job titles with the job title data scientist in healthcare, in government field, and even there's one from CIA. Okay. And State Department, I think that's another government data scientist work. But anyway, so if you take a quick look of these scientific data management specialist jobs, and you will find the terms that's key to design, development, implement, management, data, and also computational, highly technical skills, databases, and these are the common themes. And not only for scientific data management, but also for data scientist jobs cross-board. So these are not just for the science, right? So here's another quotation, but this one is from Luckitz, who wrote a highly cited article about what is data science. So this definition, if you look at this definition, you get the sense that data science in the corporate world is more about analytics. Analyze the data, finding the trends, finding the patterns, and get story out of the data and present that story to to the audience or to the decision makers. So what data scientists are expected to do? So when we look at the trying to figure out the differences from tradition, and I think we can cite a report. I think that a survey was done by EMC, and in that survey, they discovered that data scientists are more likely to be involved across data life cycle. By these are the tasks they get involved: acquiring new data sets, parsing data sets, filtering and organizing data set, mining data, algorithms, representing data, visually, that's visualization, and telling a story with data, interacting with data dynamically. And I think all these activities not only are involved in the data scientists in the corporate world, but I think you can also easily relate all these activities to the data managers, data scientists in the scientific data world. And I think these are very useful for us to obtain the insights into what's going on in the data world, in the data science or in the data science related activities. And that becomes the input, all these become the input for our program. So we try to ask us, how should we address, how should educational programs address the challenge of data? Oh, I have to go quickly. So this is one of the projects that our students did over the course of scientific data management, which has been changed to, the title of the course has been changed to Applied Data Science. Okay, but anyway, this example is a cognitive, it's one type of workflow, and this type of workflows is cognitive demanding. That means you will need, the data requires requires human intelligence to make sense out of it. And a lot of these sense-making activities are actually done manually. So, the bottleneck problems we discovered through interview the scientists are, I think, manually matching and merging filtering data is extremely cumbersome, and the problem is compounded by the difficulty of finding the right data sets. So over the project life, if you have hundreds of Excel sheets, then you are having the problem of data management. And another one is the opposite. This one is completely automated. So in the astrophysics research, and we have we have a group of faculty members in the physics department who are LIGO community members, and they do research in gravitational wave detection. And this kind of research is highly automated, from the data collection through the data processing, calibration, segmentation, until data processing, data analysis. Everything is done by writing some sort of program. So, and this type of a program, in both, highly cognitive demanding workflows and highly automated workflows, we realize in both types of workflows, the provenance issues are the key. Like in this one, tracking data and the processes and the relationships between them are the key or bottleneck problems, and that's what the data management activities should be focused on, because we can use metadata, we can use problems metadata, we can use other representation mechanisms to do it. So what are expected of data scientists? If you look through all the job notices, and everyone talks about data scientist skills, you realize we are actually looking for Superman to do the data science, and they are expected to have knowledge of a subject domain, and they are expected to be able to do data modeling, database and query design. They have to know Linux or Unix or any other, and a lot of other programming languages and encoding languages, content and repository systems if you want to deal with data. And the collaboration, communication, and the coordination, these are the softer skills. You have to know how to talk to scientists, talk to decision makers, and to identify what they need. So these are all these skills, but can we train our students with all these skills all at once? Well, I guess the answer is no. We can't educate them in a 2-year program or in a certificate program which has only 15 credits. And so that was, I think I'm kind of running short. Okay, so I think there's, I'm just trying to group the skills. So analytic skills is not just for statistical analysis, not just for numerical analysis, but also for domain analysis. And that's even more important kind of skills. And also data management skills. You need to understand data formats, and also the data processing and the metadata, and technology skills and excellent communication skills. So when we started design our program, we realized that there's no Superman model for beginning data scientists. We have to be realistic. So what we did was we have the CES data science program, and we have 2 core courses. One is the applied data science course, and the other one is for the database skills, the databases. And then we have 4 specialization areas. And these specialization areas include data analytics. So you can see data mining, basics of information retrieval systems, NLP, and research methods, statistical methods. And data storage and the management, it's all about database, metadata, and all that. Data visualization and the general information management systems. So what we learned from the program development process. First, data science is a moving target with multiple focal points. There's no single focal point. There are many. And so there are different, we are also aware of versions from statistics, computer science, and we try to kind of have emphasize that from our field, from the iSchool, what kind of data scientists we want to educate, and also the skills versus theories. And we have our philosophy of offering the courses, but students are concerned about skills only. We want skills, we want hands-on experiences, so we can find a job, so we can tell the employers, we can do this, we can do that. But our philosophy is, you have to know the theory behind it. Otherwise, you won't be able to have a vision, won't be able to justify why you need to do this, why you need to do that. So there's this constant clash between the different ideas. And of course, we also discovered that we need to have sufficient hands-on time for technologies and tools, and which we are, I'm doing it this semester. And authentic learning, that's what I described at the beginning. I guess this is the last one. Okay, so we're trying to reconciliating 2 views of data sciences. That's the 2 quotations I mentioned earlier. So let's see. This is my last page. So we do have a websites for the projects, and that's the CAS in data science program. I guess that's all. Yeah.
Thank you, Jen. Thank you for the presentation, and I enjoyed all the presentations in the panel, and I just wanted to, I think, make a general comment and perhaps a question for all of the panelists, if I may. I really appreciate the discussion of data science falling under the aegis of information management and library information science. And I think there's a parallel community in geographic information science, which is very, very similar. It's often categorized as a meta-science. It deals with all of these same issues, except the emphasis is, of course, on geospatial data and the complexity of geospatial data, sort of what is special about spatial. And so perhaps there could be a meeting of the minds or some kind of a connection between the communities represented here with a very large and growing geographic information systems and geographic information science community. And there are parallel certificate programs in those areas as well that could be part of a data science curriculum, or could be, they would cover the same areas. And I'll say with my dean present here that our Geographic Information Science Certificate is one of the most popular on our campus, and this is at Oregon State University. And it involves GIS, analytical cartography and geovisualization, satellite remote sensing, acoustic remote sensing, quantitative spatial analysis, land surveying, geodesy. So these, again, are parallel areas.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the comment. And that's great. You know, I think that Carol and I would be definitely interested in.
Well, not to say, probably a representative from Illinois who's GIS, Xiaowen Wang, is back here, and we're trying to forge closer ties with Xiaowen. He had the cyber GIS meeting at Illinois this summer, and we admire all of these programs, and we do watch them closely, and we're hoping, I'd like to see more of an exchange of the students on our campus across the two, and I'm sure it could be much more holistic than just on our campus, so we welcome that.
Great.
I think we can take one more quick question. Or we could break for lunch. We thank the speakers one more time.
Thank you.